Hey, Connie, how you doing? For some reason. Sorry. I couldn't mute that quick enough. Restream isn't working. I want to complain it's too warm. I need to work on DevOps things and later need to vet. It is an hour away from me. Ugh, that's not a fun day. Sorry to hear that. At least my dog didn't wake up with me. That's one thing I don't have to worry about with these two. Hey, Grumpy. Good morning. How's things going? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hello all. Surly, Graham, Bill Usable. How things? Get off Grumpy's lawn. Oh dear. Much and nothing to do, which include job searches and such. Indeed. Well, I wish you all the best for the day. Maybe a productive one. What are you working on today? How about you? I'm enjoying a week of doing very little. Bit of coding and morning mojo. Today I'm going to try and work on tightening up some of this NGRX stuff. Try and understand a little bit more about how to use these signal stores because I don't think I'm using them properly. And I think if I carry on down this path, it's just going to make a bigger mess. So I want to try and spend a little bit of time, pause a little bit on the comment stuff while it's still fresh and try and get some of that stuff done. So yesterday, after start everything up, the machine restarted overnight. Docker. Computer, you can do it. You can start. There we go. No, it took 21 seconds to load a personal profile, but up. Start these up. Normally what happens is the console configuration gets crushed, so I'm not even going to start until I see console up and running, because these probably might need importing, and these likely will need importing, not probably mine. Over there. Nice. Okay. So let's run this up. Let's run this one. So I'll be honest, I tried to look after stream yesterday on videos and content around using NGRX signal stores. And every video I could find, either oversimplified, well, not oversimplified, either presented pretty much the tutorial content or was presented in such a way that I just couldn't engage. I'll be honest. I don't know why Restream isn't Charles. Afternoon, Rambling Geek. How's it going? I'll have to put YouTube over there. Twitch over there. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay, let's refresh this. Like that. Sign in. You'd think I'd have used a friendly easy to remember email address by now, wouldn't you? Well, the data's been what the data's been for several months, so okay. Come on. Ooh, nice. These bots are getting worse. It's absolutely ridiculous. Is this working? Oh, I didn't start with that number why. Full stack. What are you chewing? Hey. Being off is not good for the bank balance. I I'd say resisted purchasing stuff yesterday. Um, New toys, which I was quite proud of. Been pretty good. But then again, I did have a spend a couple of weeks. Okay, come on. Oh, I've been wanting to use my. I like Gran Turismo, and I've been wanting to use my racing wheel properly, but I don't have a decent enough setup in my room. So I was thinking, keeping me motivated on the organization thing, of buying a seat with a stand, so I could have one configuration that I could just unfold and put the wheel out and sit in. It was $300, so I will hold off until next year. Okay, things are working. So actually, Yeah, I did some organizing yesterday. Did I did get some things tied up. Jesus, for some reason, Restream is not connecting anymore. Yeah, so I got some consolidated. I got some things thrown out, consolidated. I have a few CPUs as well, and I was thinking, should I eBay them? But combined, they're worth maybe $150, and it'll take more time to pack them, and I could use them. So I can use the CPUs. Um, that's all I found that was worth anything. Okay. Well, but it doesn't clear the space for the wheel, so it doesn't make the. If it was removing something big enough to put the space together for the wheel, then yeah, that'd be worth it. Um, okay, so we got the signal store working yesterday for the comments, right? So we got these in there. They do need a bit of styling. So let's start with the easy stuff, right? Um, so let's start with uh let's start with that part. Um, what do I want to do here? Gee, console windows up everywhere. Component. I don't think there's a particular component that I'm looking for. Just looking for something inspirational as far as the comments layout goes. Um, there's no particular layout. Lay panel data. It's not really. I won't say a data view module. What else is that? Paginate. We're not at pagination point yet. Um, what's it called? Tailwind. Right.com. I'm not bringing them up on the screen because they're bright white panels and stuff. Um, Tailwind doesn't really have anything for this. It's kind of a stat list, right? But not a stat list. Probably just do this. Just a little bit of tidy up will make it all the better. So let's do class equals flex. Uh, flex equals PB1. Let's see. No, I don't want flex there. Yeah. Space that out appropriately. Yeah, it does. More comments. I think I might remove all those comments. So let's add another comment. Another comment showing on this. We'll do a lorem ipsum soon for content size. So the problem with this is now it's not updating the store, and that's one of the things that I'm looking at today. Is because I still think I'm using NGRX stores or signal stores incorrectly. NGRX store is actually a thing as well, and I'm not using them. I'm using signal stores under the NGRX project. So, yeah. So there's our comments. So you can see they're not spaced appropriately. BB4. And I added it twice. Awesome. So what doesn't look right there? This is too bright, so I think this needs to have class text gray 600. That stands out a little bit more. Let's make that 700. Make it a little darker. No, a little lighter through the direction. I know I'm messing around with styling right now, but some readability would be nice. That just looks cluttered. That still looks pretty cluttered. Ultimately, what I want to do is create some sort of user navigation. That's why I bring down name, email, etc. with everyone. I don't need email, but I do bring down their name and their identifier at the very least. So I think user profile stuff will be eventually useful. Your friend hiding under the desk. Copper Beanie, hello. How you doing? How are things? Okay, so let's try Lauren Ipsum to get that spaced out. Manoj, how you doing? We're gonna have Lauren Ipsum. One paragraph. We don't do a lot. Let's add new. So we need to lock the button down. We need to clear the text when we add it, and then show it immediately. is one of the things we need to work on there, because that's just not going to work, right? There you go. Oh, and I added that one just for good measure another time. How many times did I actually add that comment? Okay, it genuinely did add it 3 times. So we probably want to reverse the order on these as well, right? We probably want to provide the ability to sort them by newest to oldest eventually. So the way we're going to do that right now is in our GraphQL layer. I actually put one of these on there. Yeah, sorting. Changes can be sorted. So changes are not ordered from the server. They use that. If you're new to the stream, if you haven't, you're curious about what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to ask. I'm happy to chat about what I'm doing. It's a larger project, so it's a little harder to keep introducing every single time with things that it does. Right now, I'm focused on trying to get the UI components wired up correctly. Trying to learn how to use the technology on the client side. Maybe you should click short big comments and may provide a pop-up on click. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. I actually have the plan with that is, so right now this UI is not, what I want to do is get the UI usable, and try and move the project forward, and then do a pass and maybe get someone to build an actual UI UX mock-up, and then come back in with, because I have no eye for design. This is basically Prime and G tooling for the most part. So, but yeah, you are right. Being able to collapse that would be useful. So that is, we go to services, planning items, changes. Yeah, here you go, order. So do here then, go back to this one. Should. That should work. Start. Yeah, I totally agree with the there you go. So that's now sorted. Descending. Requirements are going to have the same problem. So requirements, the idea of requirements is to be able to describe things. These are going to have the exact same challenge, because they're going to contain way more text than this is going to want to show. So yeah, these are going to suffer the same thing. So requirements, I'm not even sure requirements are necessarily usable as a tab here. More seeing that there are requirements. So you add a new requirement. And again, I'm experimenting with different ways of doing this, right? So requirements could go the same way, or comments could go the same way, right? But okay, that worked. I should not have added a comment. Thank you for the follow, Manoj, by the way. Appreciate it. I don't get anything on that screen telling me that it's happened. I just glanced over there. So thank you. Okay. So let's tighten up that. So it's kind of contradictory. I'm just saying, hey, I'm not going to spend too much time worrying about the way it looks, etc. But behaviors I want to get a handle on because so things like how I do the save button, how I deal with um, how I deal with the comment being cleared out, how I deal with that entire thing. So when this save happens, the this should disappear and the add new should appear, right? But that's not happening. So those things I do want to focus a little bit on. So what happens here is this store.add comment should then reset and then hide the input. But that's not happening because this piece isn't happening. So add comment in the store. Oh, yeah, that's why. Is it resolve or resolve or I didn't use the promise correctly? And as has been pointed out yesterday, I'm not dealing with any errors here. I'm not dealing with what happens if it doesn't work. But that should now work there. Let's just go to here, adding a new comment. This should work now. Yeah. So it wasn't resetting. So if I go to add new, it should be empty. Okay, that's better. The reason it disappears when I hit add new is it adds it to the store, but then it immediately turns around and calls this, which fetches the comments, which calls from the server. So there's an immediate server call because a signal changed. And this is kind of what I want to look at today is these sort of patterns. I've got them all over the place now. Do I need to break things out a little bit more? Because right now the planning item service does interact with all the planning item stuff, right? So I've got the APIs for updating stuff, and I've got the queries for refreshing, pulling stuff. The store itself has the calls and it manipulates the state in the store. So the comments, the requirements, the attachments, they're all attached to the store. Helps if I actually bring up the things I use. So for anyone just joining the stream, this is how this is kind of working. So the client is using the API gateway. The API gateway points to different components of the back end. So mainly right now we're involving everything around the planning component. But the writes come in through here, and then GraphQL is my query source. So when I add something, it doesn't necessarily become immediately available. So it's up to me to hold it on the client, which is what I'm using the signal stores for, so that they maintain state. Wow, three best viewers on stream so far. We've only been going 35 minutes. Storybot is definitely a useful bot to include. So yeah, these requests come through here, get published to Kafka as integration events, and then other pieces of the system can pick them up. So the planning, when I add a planning item or I update a planning item, it gets updated immediately. So I've got that data, it's safe. It then publishes out to the wider system as an integration event through Kafka. Kafka picks up, or rather, I've got consumers attached looking for the changes and looking for notifications. So notifications is, does anybody care about seeing this entity right this second? Ultimately, it'll be, does anybody care that the review date changed in this entity? Does anybody care about the assigned user changing on this entity? Was the assigned user set to me, etc.? So notifications is very much that part, and changes is a feed for that, right? So changes gets calculated. We calculate, the user change. We publish that out. The notification system listens to changes and says, has that changed? Yes, it has. Okay, let's go. Pipeline right now, as I call it, is an enricher. So when changes get published, the pipeline adds the data to that to feed out an actual feed of here's what actually changed. That still needs some extra work. And then the view consumes things and the GraphQL displays it. So that's why that disconnect on here, when I saved it, it disappeared. But it only disappeared when it had saved on the server, and then I didn't see it until I came back and refreshed that tab, because it wasn't making that request to load that data again. So the actual call here is network only on the fetch policy. You can do cached, you can do local, you can do a combination, but I don't know what the policy is on that. Besides, even if I did this, if I fetch the comments, because those comments previously, let's say the comments were empty before, I'm going to get what was there before. I'm not going to get any new stuff. So we're going to learn a bit more about that as well. But this just highlights the need for spending more time focusing on certain components of the system versus trying to spread myself thin on every part of the system. But if I'm going to build this application, then I don't really have a choice, right? So I'm going to have to make some harder decisions. The code might not be the way that an Angular developer would necessarily write it. And yeah, I've got to accept that I can't be everything 100%. I have to be like 20% here and 20% there, and play to my strengths on other areas. But yeah, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts or opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in. And I appreciate the ideas and the feedback. And actually, Manoj, that one might be an easier one to, just for demonstration. Being that I'm procrastinating. Because I think PrimeNG actually has that. Oh, they have it in place. That's nice. I'm going to use that. Oh, they had this. Yes, they do. What's it called? They do have this. I know this. I've seen this. Oh, let me just tab over. I don't want accordions. That's not what I'm after. But there's a. Constantinism. There was. Well, scroll top is something I need eventually anyway. But the what like that's not what I'm after. But there was one that I swear there was one that was kind of expand collapse. Not messages to your menu, not steps. That's not what I want. And yes, I know I'm procrastinating on this. I'm trying to. Toggle button, no tree select slider. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just making it up. Not gonna lie, there's a disconnect between my brain and setting up Ninjet. Panel. You're not wrong. Could be panel. I thought there was one that just there was toggleable basic. I thought there was one that was a little bit more expand collapse. Oh. Like I thought there was one where you could click it and it expand. I can't remember what that name is. Because that's really what you want to do, right? You want to show a little bit and then expand if it's bigger. Mistake. I'll look to the. Shouldn't look to the. Yeah. Yeah, I thought there was one way you could click the because it's a comment. There's no title. There's nothing. There's nothing else. There's no point in putting a header in there. That'll just use more vertical space than I want to. So yeah, we're not starting this again. She's chewed enough now. She's bored. Now she wants to go outside and play. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I need to not get myself focused too much on that. But yeah, that would be a decent behavior where you click it and it expands the actual size of the text. Um, so this design, this is a common problem I have across the application, right? I have this. I assume that he's a very audible dog on the street. Can't hear himself, but let's see. You gonna go outside? You go outside and play? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, this is a common pattern and a common problem I'm going to face. Well, so what this code does is I have an input which is a signal on string. I set that input when I load the component, and when it changes, that's what the effect will do. If we have a value, then we're going to schedule. This scheduling is necessary because of some the effects don't like touching the actual identifier or doing things with this. So the ASAP scheduler, I got it again. I need to understand more. Yes, it's saying, "Hey, do it now." Set timeout, defer task. Yeah, okay. So it will execute this and then call fetch comments. Fetch comments is on the store, on this feature of the store, which will then get the planning item service, call fetch comments, and when that comes back, it will patch the state of that store into this planning item. Because this gets executed every time, it's going to, if there's no comments on the server, it's going to wipe them out. Otherwise, it's going to pull what was there. So even if I add a comment, and we'll see that behavior if I do it here now. So if we add a new comment, adding a new comment, right, we hit save, this will disappear, but the comment won't show because what it's actually done is it's gone and loaded the server. I would bet. Let me do that once more on an empty one, just so you can see. So if I add new, And we have not done any modifications for screen scale, etc. yet, so don't stress about that. So we need adding a comment to demonstrate behaviors. So when I hit save, I believe it will call fetch. There you go. So it called. It didn't. So why didn't the store load? I thought that called fetch. Because the identifier trigger happens. Ah, the behavior been confusing me. Let's close that. So why doesn't that? Yeah, see more probably. Go on, tell me there's an easier behavior there. Ah, they just did it. Yeah. Okay. That's not really a directive. Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean that's yeah. New angular schematic component. See more. Skip tests. In Bamosia, you can highlight part of a model on Apple, apply different settings, like more info to make that area stronger. I didn't know you could do. I didn't know you could do the. I knew you could color it differently, but I didn't know you could actually set the infill areas. That's pretty cool. So that would be that. So what you do is content is input not required string modify. Nice. And what you would do minimum, is that even a thing? I was gonna say that makes it optional. Mini well, um is that default or is that a initial value one? Okay, yeah. So what we do, so that's going to be get see more. Just make see more a variable. Catch you later. Go back to my dance. Can hold it over it. So I've been with the screw around. Nice. Doing jumps. Or just chasing you down the street. Or running, making you chase down the street and fall. So this would be content. Content.slice 0 to -5. Content greater than minimum length. So I want that to be minimum length, right? Ah, more methods than actual code inside of there. This dot see more equals not, or negate this dot see more. Okay. Again, this is not good because I'm just procrastinating, right? App see more content equals comment.content. Wow. How I use keyboard. Import that component. Reload everything up. I think we've got some logic problems going on somewhere. Interesting. There we go. Content dot length. But the problem is it's not displaying this because this is less than that, right? So it should be doing this one. Yeah, but it's negating that. So it's removing everything from that, right? So that's the right thing to do because that's obviously this is basically if the content is less than the minimum length, you always want to show it. So that would be or there. Let's just go with that for now. There you go. There you go. So what do we do? Do we minimum length equals 50? Why is that? That's not really doing that, is it? And again, this is all procrastination because all I'm doing is putting off looking at the harder things. So because that's more than 50 characters, right? It kind of is working, but it's like it's taking 50 words, not 50 characters. Um, content length greater than minimum length. It's not minimum length, is it? It's maximum length. Yeah, if the content length is less than or equal to the maximum length, otherwise take 0 to the maximum length to negative maximum. Ah, ow! Does my head need patting like that? Hello, buddy. Hello. Hello. Hello, muffin. Okay? Hello. Hello. Hello, buddy. You okay? You on the rubs? You on the rubs? You say hello. Hello, my friend. Hello, my friend. Um, okay. You okay? You want a cookie? Is that what you want? You want a reward? Should we see if there are any cookies left? There you go. Go tell your sister to come in. Go get your sister in. All right. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So now let's go to here. Okay. Okay, that was a little healthier. There you go. There you go, Manoj. Feature implemented because I'm putting off tackling something difficult. Um, need to actually don't need to do that in there, do I? Because I got it in here. Oh, don't need an extra span inside of a span when it's all within a span. Class equals text small color text color gray 500. That's not very obvious, is it? Cursor, pointer, hover, text. White. I think that works. There you go. See more, see less, see more, see less. Okay, we'll take that. So why was that negating that? That was reversing it and taking back the maximum length. They probably were thinking about it differently. I'm probably so that was from um, Mojo's link on Stack Overflow. And use Mobina. It's TypeScript. Finishing touches attach ellipses to the truncated text. There's a way of doing that, isn't there? CSS. I think the overflow can actually be done with. Yeah, you can do it with that. The CSS alone. But it's no, you can't. You can indicate that it is, but you can't overflow. Yeah. Now, if I'd have clicked there all along, would it have offered that? Or is that just being... There you go. We happy with that solution? Okay. View comments. Actually, let's add. Sometimes there won't be enough text to see more. Yeah. That's working now. Okay. All in the name of putting off actually doing the thing I need to do. Add. See more component. For this was equally important. But it is UI UX, which again I think needs an entire professional view. So one day I'll find someone who can do that and do a treatment of an entire UI. No. This is this stream. The stream is random some days. So I've been working on this project for the past year almost now at this point. Actually a year. And the goal of this is to working with stories, working as a developer for so long, gathering the requirements is often a challenge for product, for management, etc. So this particular tool, right, the second is focused on that gathering aspect, right? So the goal is that the requirement, this is kind of a wish list, right? So a PM might come in here, create a planning item, add all the information to it, etc., and then review that with the developers. What I'm aiming to do is, where in Jira we have a story, and there are some planning aspects that appear now that I've seen appear since I started this. Not suggesting that they are overlapping, but they weren't there. So maybe I've just latched onto that need at the same time. But the goal of this tool is to help gather those requirements, discuss with developers before they actually become solid requirements as an actual story, so they can be better understood and put together. So what this is meant to do, you come in here, you set a new planning item, and this might be update the screen, update, whatever. I'm trying to think larger than a single small feature. I'm thinking of how do I put this? When we're building stories, we often end up in a case of, is that actually too small? Is that too big? Is that too specific? Is that not specific enough? And I kind of want to let PMs be able to write something down, describe it in detail, and then from there we can determine what is actually stories versus epics versus etc., and not have to worry about following those rules so much. This can kind of be a wish list. And hello, Xcoding, how you doing? Not where Xcoding is another streamer, has been working on some OS development and a terminal tool. Both fascinating to watch. I'm doing good. Doing good. Just kind of trying to get my head around some behaviors here. So yeah, this tool is very much aimed at gathering the information and producing enough detail that you could sit down with developers and review the stories that could come out of here. And the ultimate goal is, when it comes time to make a story out of this, is to go through these and say, okay, well, this requirement actually that belongs with the DevOps group. That's a DevOps thing, but it's also on this project. So you can tag multiple projects with any individual requirement, and then it can be assigned to the correct team to work on as a story. But this also then pulls all those stories back together, because this will track. My goal is to have another tab here, which will be the stories. So the produced stories from this would show their progress in here. So as a PM, you don't actually need to go into the individual development team's Kanban boards. You can see the progress of your planning item in one view. The review date is a mandatory field, and it is a date in which you'll follow up on this. So you can't just lose track of planning. You can say, okay, well, actually, this needs to be, this is past due. Oh, let's review, we're going to review this today. So let's set that to today. And that will move that over here into, well, move it to the bottom of there, apparently. Because apparently August 29th is past due. So at the end, people will check some items, components in the planning item and generate a story. Yeah, that's the idea. So you'll be able to say, okay, move these requirements become part of a story, one or more. It could be the requirement gets sent to two stories. It could be whatever. So, but there'll be a generating tool that will allow you to take these requirements and pull them out, and they'll also link back to the planning item, so you can see the entire goal. And again, what I'm trying to do is prevent the PMs from having to worry too much about the technical makeup of the application and more focus on what they're trying to achieve, and then be able to describe that and also see progress on that. Because sometimes there's many stories associated, and we kind of call them an epic. Or you do call them an epic, but there's things that different teams might need. If there's DevOps requirements and DevOps isn't integrated into the team, they might end up with setting up some pieces, but you might need to know, okay, well, that's delayed, so this story is not going to get done until that's done, or vice versa. So if you can go in and see one glance, okay, these are the stories related to this particular piece of work, that's what I'm trying to present. But from here, screenshots, mock-ups, etc. So ultimately, the requirements will be a bit more enriched. There'll be full text editors, so the requirements won't necessarily display neatly in here. But the idea would be that they are, you can attach images to them, you can attach diagrams, etc., to the actual requirements themselves, and those would get sent with the story as well. So the story would be able to contain all the information, but you could glance at this and rolling up planning items into initiatives to say, okay, this bunch of planning items make up this initiative, let's go with that. And then being able to see the same thing again. Here's the breakdown. There's 50 stories created across these planning items. Here's their progress, right? So at a management perspective, this is mostly what people care about. They don't care about the individual stories necessarily. They care about the progress of the actual project. So the other feature that I'm building out is this ability to get very granular on the changes. So as a PM, I might want to say, okay, well, I care if this planning item is assigned to me, or I care about this review date expiring. So please tell me about this, and be able to configure those notifications as well, so people can get the right reminders at the right times. This is kind of a working board for a PM, so they'd be able to go in here. Most of this would be assigned to them, right? We're going to do filters, but most of this would be the PM comes into their planning items. This is kind of their working board. They can see, okay, well, all these are past due. I need to move these. And that's going to bug me now. I'm going to fix that in a second. But the 29th should be current, right? But yeah, that's the goal. The goal is that these things are review date is mandatory. You can't avoid it. And it will just keep prompting you and moving it past you. Even if it's not assigned, it will land in here. So right now, all we've got working is the notification. So I can subscribe to this notification on this item. And if someone changes if someone updates this in any way, I'll get told in my inbox here, yeah, this has been done. So if someone changes that, then we get told, oh, the planning item was changed. Oh, hello again, little one. And that's generally the goal. Is to try and give, because a lot of Jira is the tool I have the most experience with. A lot of Jira is focused on the management aspect of things. It's not focused on the actual getting work done. And so I'm kind of focusing on those pieces now, the alerting, the visuals, etc. Because ultimately, it would be nice if the developers could be given, here's the work you're actually going to do, here's the work you've agreed to, and you've pointed. You can go off and work on it, and the reporting requirements are handled, because when a story is moved to done, etc., people can get told, people can see, oh, here's the progress of this, right? Or by looking at the stories, they can see a list of stories and the current progress of those stories. You could show a progress bar across this as well, as saying, hey, this planning item is 50% done, right? So I'm kind of figuring things out as I go along on a little bit of things, but I do have some more firm ideas as to what I want to do. So yeah, the changes, it'll calculate, oh, we changed the assigned user, we changed the review date. right now there was no comment and we added a comment. This has not been refined yet. Yeah. Let's go and get this committed. I think comments is pretty much working the way I want it to do now. Uh, comments, layout, use, see more, component. Parameterless constructors working. Nice. Single component, sort comments by they added, sending. Um, that. Not achieving everything I wanted to achieve today, but I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted to achieve, other than I wanted to kind of review my use of some of these things and try and figure out if there's a better way. So I don't know if I actually have something that I'm going to come out with saying, hey, yeah, I understand this. So I was looking at videos. I couldn't find any good videos on NGRX signal stores that told me how I should lay them out, how I should design them, the way I should use them. If there was, it was in a video that I couldn't follow. Um, uh, Not all of us are capable of making, and I'm not saying I am. I don't make a lot of videos, right? Patrick, good morning. How are you today? But yeah, some people are not capable of making engaging content, which makes it harder to watch. Um, oh, that's what I was going to do. So this categorization, past due, current, upcoming, is actually configured on the client side. These are categories that I've determined. They're not actually, actually would be flexible. Doing okay, doing okay. Getting a bit of progress made. Today we've introduced where did they go? Oh, I didn't read that one. Yeah, we've introduced a see more component. We've got the comments displaying. So we got that introduced, and now I'm trying to figure out why August 29th is not current, being that that is today. So planning views, planning items, components, table. So the table was items with review window. So it's off the store. So let's go to the stores. Don't let it be a time zone issue. That'd be hilarious. Low detail for this is a computed field, so it's a computed method. And what does it goes and gets all of them. So the review window is set up like this. So there's a review window type that has 3 static properties, past due, this week, and upcoming, and then we have all, right? So if I wanted to make just categorize them in past due, then I can do it in past due. Okay, so what are we going off here? So past due is if the review date is less than the current date. Current is the review date is greater than or equal to the current date, and the review date is less than or equal to the window date. What? Right, yeah. Current date now. So it's within now to the end. So the window date is 7 days from now, and all 0 hours. I'm back. Welcome back, Family Geek. So what I do is on here, I just go and get all the review windows and then find, and then each one has a validation method, right, attached. And that validation method is this validation method. So this is what's categorizing the actual data. So it takes the review date, and the review date is a date. It is not a time. Which one are planning names then? Planning names. Planning items. So review date is just a date. There's no time component to it. So it's not a time zone issue, I don't believe. Refactor this code not to nest. That's pretty difficult being that it's designed. So what we do is if we need to find the window that this arrives in, and then if we find a window, then we push that entity, that review window, review window priority, review window. So then we get a review window and a review window priority. So each planning item gets attached that information. So we basically create a new object. So this is a map through the entities, right? We return a new object and attach to it a review window and a review window priority, right? So, and if we can't window it, it doesn't get included, basically. So past due, I called it this week, and it's current. Let's at least align the names on the UI side of things. So the benefit of these is we could categorize these differently. We could do all sorts of stuff. We could create different, like, next month, next year, those could be categories if we chose to do, and then these could be flex because all this is doing is creating a yeah. So current, and this is just an ordering, by the way. Takes the review date. So I think it's actually that the past due one is is console.log review date console.log. Actually, let's do this console.log. We don't get anything but a date, so past due view is okay. August 29th. Review date and current date. False. Okay. Um, current view. I should remove that one. So it's not assessing the August 29th one, but it's including them in. Let's do this. Let's comment them out. If anyone sees the what is window date in one place and window date, get date. So this gets you a date. Then you need to set the date plus 7. So this adds 7 days to the date. And then we set the hours to 0 to make sure it's just a date. So everything's tested on just its date component. There might be better ways of manipulating this. I don't include any external libraries here. This is all just JavaScript stuff. So yeah. So this gets you the actual date, which will give you a full date object. Then you get the actual get date gets you the actual oh, much. So window date. Window date is August 29th, 8:37. If we do window date dot get date, it's the 29th. That's why. No. But window date dot set date, window date dot get date. date plus 7. Oh, no, that's right. No. Current date. No date. Oh, okay. It does add 7 days. Okay. It literally adds 7 days. Yeah. I was worried then. I was like, hold on, it's just a number, but it actually does treat it as 36, which means, yeah. That's weird that works. Hold on, that doesn't work, does it? Because that just made it Thursday, September 12th. Seven days from now is not Thursday, September 12th. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah, I did. Good point. Thank you. I didn't realize I'd done that because I'd done the two string. Yeah. I thought it was immutable. I didn't realize it's called set date. It's not immutable. It's changing the actual data. By the way, it would have made it the 6th of September. Or 5th of September, whatever. But either way, that's not the actual problem. Because the problem is it thinks that this is valid. But we saw that that said false for the 29th. But the 29th isn't getting equated here, it isn't getting tested here because so what it does is it goes through all these and it finds the one that the validates, right? So it should come back with so let's do this. If e dot review date equals what format was that in before? The 2024-09. 2024-09. What? Yeah, because it's just a random one. That's not that one. 08-29. It just happens to be that. Debug. And equality. No. That won't work either. Don't believe that'll work. Yeah, that won't work. JavaScript dates I do not like. Well, I want a conditional breakpoint. That's my problem. Hi. Okay.
it can be chewed, it will be chewed, apparently. You're a menace. Yes, you're a menace. You eat things. I'll do this. I hate navigating around in the browser. In the I just put that. Okay, so the 7th, the 8th, 9th. He eyes in the back of your head. Yeah, with these two. She'd got in a box in my room, pulled a calendar out, and was eating it. My books were also minutes. My name is Ranhon. How you doing? Okay, August 29th. So the review date. That's why. That's why. We fed in August 29th and it made the review date August 28th. That's why that's the bug. Why does it do that? It could be the browser, but I don't like how that third line is empty. What? Good. I got my generator all working. Then I need to add a new feature. Nice. On to the next thing. Where you set hours. There. Well, the weird thing is that that is not correct. So we pass in August 29th. Build static objects from const objects in TS. What a weird way to type to object. Huh? Why does that? So if we do new date 2024 08 29. What? Does that give me the 27th? It does. What is that doing? Okay, so let's do 0 0 0 0 0 0. Are you actually kidding me? Is the OG date in UTC, but you're saying hours in EST? Well, it's taking the 4 hours off and treating it, but then it's calling it UTC anyway. So it's assuming that that date is passed as UTC, and it's got to offset it for my time zone. There you go. That works. That is annoying. Interesting that I board noticed that now. No, time zone is irrelevant. And a review date, the review date's a review date's a review date. Why can't the overdue flag come from the DB API? Right now, the categorization. So the fact that it is overdue is I don't. These categories are flexible, right? So the server's not the server doesn't care about this. The server's just say, here's a review date. When it is overdue, if there's something to happen against it, that will be done. That will be dealt with at the server side. I built these categories up so that they could be changed because I'm not sure that it might. I'm not sure these necessarily make sense for all the use cases. Yeah. So, and again, right now the review date is a self-imposed timeline. It's not necessarily a deadline as such. It's more, hey, I need to review this today, therefore they'll go in my current. Ultimately, you don't want a past due. Past due shouldn't appear, right? Because past due means you've got something you need to move these, you need to make decisions on these. Like, okay, well that one it needs to move out to the 13th, right? You see how this recategorizes straight away. That now sits there. That's kind of the flexibility of being able to do those categorization this way. But yeah, that moves into 1st of October. Yeah. So this screen here is not a everyone's not going to see the same screen because they're going to see their work by default. Ultimately there'll be filters. If I want to see your planning items or my planning items or someone else's planning items, I'll be able to see them based upon permissions. But this is kind of a self-management tool. It's like, oh well, I need to work on this now. Other users can subscribe to these items, right? So I can go in, if I'm looking at someone else's board, I can go in here and click this. Now I'm subscribed to that. So now when it changes, I'm going to get told it changed. I'll be able to do the same thing at the individual field level though as well. So this won't always be this. Right now it's just a proof of concept. But ultimately I'm about to say, okay, well, if the review date goes past you, I want to be told, or I want to know if the review date is moved beyond 2 weeks, so people can be alerted to things happening in the system. Because if someone pushes this back a month, I might care and want to see in my dashboard, oh, this got moved back a month. I might need to follow up on that or do something and set an action myself on that. So again, what I'm trying to do is create some tools for management of process without being heavily involved, and you can kind of control how much and how little. What's the matter, Mr. Mott? You okay, bud? Yeah. So if these are stages, then it should be the stage filed or something in DB, right? And maybe you should have housekeeping jobs moving across stages if applicable, like for overdue items. We expect the volume usage will blow up in future. So again, right now this is a review date, so there will be a job for tracking that. So when it has expired, being able to notify people, and that's what I want to do. I want to make the system about kind of telling people, by the way, these are things you expect, and these are things. These review dates right now only matter as much as this is self-management. If I go in here and I've got a load of past due stuff, then I've got a lot of things to catch up on, right? So the idea would be that current and upcoming, and even upcoming probably should only be within the next month. It shouldn't necessarily, and that's why I'm not hard coding that on the server side, because I think that should be definitely something that I look at being able to configure. But yeah, upcoming might be the month after, this might be the next week, etc. So these are very flexible. But yeah, it's not so much deadlines as it is ownership and accountability. So yeah, there will be jobs. We do have, where are you? Workflows, system interactions. So there's this monitoring component up here that will do that job of keeping an eye on things and saying, oh, by the way, this is now past due. You might want to do something. So it will publish the notifications and tell people. And yeah, so but generally the idea would be that the product manager is looking at this on a daily basis, right? This is their homepage, or rather the dashboard plus this. So the dashboard will show progress on stories, etc. The inbox will show things they care about that they've been told about. And yeah, I'll be right back. Hello, bud. You okay? I've got no more cookies. I'll get you some more afterwards, okay? Yeah. You go, boy. Sorry about that. Okay. So the way this system is designed is very modular. So right now, planning is my focus. Ultimately, ticketing is going to be a component of this because I think tickets definitely feed through into, they might feed through into requirements gathering, etc. And stories in the future, right? Moving towards boards for developers, etc. The idea of this system is reactive. So these individual components are the sources of truth for the data. The planning is held all the planning items are held in a single database right now. So we have different databases. So planning items just cares about data that's associated with planning items. So the comments on the planning items, the actual planning items themselves, their attachments. So their attachments is its own component of the system. These are all in Azure. So attachments is a global thing, and then planning items has its own attachments because they're things associated with planning items, etc. But what I'm trying to do is build the system in such a way that it is able to be expanded or flexed in the right ways at the right times. So I heavily lean into Kafka, so I publish out the data. So when a planning item is added to the system, the client is routed to the planning API. The API is capturing that data. That integration event is publishing, and then the rest of the system does what it needs to do. The planning system has captured the data. That's all it cares about. In terms of notifications, search, etc. So Elasticsearch, adding that on in the future to be able to make a powerful search system, whether it be Elasticsearch or something else, is possible. And I don't need to change the rest of the system to accommodate, right? I can build a separate GraphQL API for Elasticsearch or for search purposes if I need to. So leaning a lot onto Kafka and Service Bus. These dotted lines, by the way, that's a Service Bus message, not a Kafka message. So yeah, that's a little hard to read. But yeah, so the system interactions very much kind of showing a lot of Kafka and then some Service Bus. So a notification, if a notification is to be sent, some of the communication stuff's going to come out of the view and move back into communications. The inbox stuff is going to go there because I can't mark things as read because the view is read only, right? But yeah, things flow through the system, and making the system reactive and being able to tell, by the way, you've got something due. By the way, something changed. You've asked to be notified about this. It could be that you care about a particular project. So you subscribe to the actual, I care about planning projects. So all work attached to product to planning, I need to see. So I want to know all the planning items created. I want to know where stories lie, etc. And being able to flex. I care a bit about that. So I just want to see it in a daily digest email versus I want to see immediate notification. So let's change that then. Review window. Date was being adjusted for local time zone and calculating windows. So this will work because if I say it should be reviewed on the 29th, and it is the 29th for me, it'll show for me because it is the 29th, right? So that's why that works, and it doesn't need to necessarily adjust for any offsets there. Calculated windows. So in the end, Mojo, you were right. It was time zones. We did time zone adjusted. Let's change that again. I just format that. I just cleaned up a line. At least it wasn't a long-winded one. Yeah. Okay. So I don't think I've got as far as I want to get on the stores. I don't quite know. I suppose I don't know what I'm asking at this point. Like it's working, but it's not working. What do I change here? So for this comment, when I add a patch to state, hold on, that's not right. I need to do set fulfilled. I think it's fulfilled. That's the alt. Set pending, set fulfilled. Yeah, set fulfilled. Set pending will put so you can kind of show that it's pending. That's how you would use a loading. You'd say, okay, if it's pending, then yeah, request status pending. So you can do is pending. So there we could do the way you can lead into that is you can just put in the store if the store is pending. Words. Think about what you're saying. I'm just talking randomly about pending there. When I hit save, I could actually say if store dot is pending, that sort of stuff, right? So I can actually show a loading spinner. That's what that does. And what I'd have done there is forgot to move it out of state. So this patch state will take any number of state updaters. So update entity is going to update because we have the with entities piece. We have the request and the refresh status. So this is the request status, so we can tell whether we're loading or not. And refresh status is one of my doing, and it's really to say, do I need to change this? Because what I want to do ultimately is be able to push down when the changes come through, because you've got this eventually consistent behavior. When the changes hit here, it could be a second, it could be 10 seconds, it could be an hour before they actually get to this component, or longer if the system's not working correctly, right? So the client doesn't know that it doesn't have that data. Again, what I've focused on is getting the data captured as quickly as possible with as little fluff as possible. So the command to store the planning item, it stores the planning item and returns the identifier that it's saved in the database at that point. So it will return the identifier to the client. Now we've got a tracking ID on the client. So as long as we don't refresh the screen, because we don't have persistence, we're good. We've got the identifier. We know that it's there. We can go in and we can actually we can perform more actions against that thing, and it will be fine. We're tracking it against an identifier. But that information might not actually make it to the view for a few minutes. When it hits the view, I want to push a notification that says, okay, by the way, this has been confirmed, and now this can be updated. So maybe a comment gets added. But now it hits the view, we don't know about that. So this store hasn't been updated appropriately, because the idea will be we're tracking it anyway. But then it will push down to the client and say, hey, by the way, you need to update. So that's what I want to do a little bit more of. Well, right now I'm just confused because I am patching the state of the store with the comments in fetch comments. And then when I add, I'm doing the same thing. I'm creating a new comment and pushing it into those comments. So we saw that it's not triggering that fetch. It's frustrating. So again, I think I'm in the position again as I was yesterday, in that I really need to find. So if I go to YouTube, no, I want to do this on youtube.com. I look up Signal Store NGRX Angular 18. And just to show this. So this is a documentation for the Signal store, right? So this is Signals. Signals is a standalone library that provides a reactive state management solution and set of utilities for Angular Signals. So maybe this is me not understanding Angular Signals effectively, and maybe this is not me understanding the store stuff. But so I've basically achieved what this is outlining. This is showing, right? It's showing this store concept, this bookstore. It has hooks, etc. It has the state tracking stuff. That's what I'm doing. The state, I'm modifying the state. So is some of it I'm not using the tooling effectively, or is some of it that I'm not designing the actual stores in? I'm not thinking about the stores in the right way. So should the store be one massive store for everything? So I've created planning item store. In there, I've got attachments, comments, all those things. They're all attached to the planning item itself. Is that the right way of thinking about it? Is that a good way of designing it? This doesn't really tell me much, because, and you can see the is pending stuff. That's all just ripped off from there, basically. But am I using this in the right way? I don't know. They use books, but they don't really go much more into that. With entities, this is why everything has to have an ID, by the way, because this with entities requires an ID. So even though it's called identifier, it's remapped to ID on the thing. We can see the patch state here. This is patching the state on the store, and we're setting the entity, or we're adding the entities, or we're updating the entities, etc. Oh, you can do custom entity identifier. I don't remember that being there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm designing this correctly. So yeah, here you go. Add book, add author, add categories. So this is the bookstore, the library store thing. So this is kind of my planning items, right? So is it right that I'm doing this? I mean, they're referring to it as a bookstore, so that's awesome, right? So okay. Okay. But anyway, I got some more reading to do. I got to find out some. I got to see if I can find some resources. A lot of these are either old, in which case I'm not sure about the content, or the presenter just presents that same stuff that's in here in a different way, which is not what I want. I'm kind of looking for design goals as such. Am I using the stores correctly? Am I designing the stores correctly? Because right now this patch state should work. That comment should appear, but I don't know why. So, because this changed that behavior where when I hit the add, the thing goes away. So the comments should actually work. But maybe that's not me. That's me not actually reacting properly, right? So there's a lot of different little pieces all of this. So anyway, I am going to go and get some breakfast. So I'm gonna finish up here. I'm gonna raid someone new. I just found there's a lady streaming some Vue stuff. C# Vue site, it says. So I don't know whether that is C#, but let's go see her. Alicia. I've not seen her before, but she was in my recommended channels, so let's go over there. I will be back tomorrow. I was contemplating, actually, I'd originally contemplated a community day tomorrow, opening up the Discord channel and having chats. But I didn't do any planning for that, so that might not be a thing. So, Cobbeady, you too, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. I appreciate it. Hope you are well. So yeah, let's go raid Alicia, and I will be back tomorrow, and I'm going to try and do some reading up on this today, and see how it goes. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for the assistance and the ideas. We did get a Seymour component in, if nothing else, and fix the bug in the layout. So that was awesome. So take care all. Have a great rest of your day. I keep forgetting I forgot that button. And yeah, thank you for coming and hanging out. You too, Manoj. Have a great day. Let's go raid Alicia. Let's go on the ending screen. Take care all. Bye.